and I would like to ask you to tell a little bit about yourself. What is your background in tech, and what do you do today?
Yeah, so I grew up in rural Colorado, and mostly kind of got into computers and technology from a lot of my dad owned a lot of real estate offices, and whenever their computers would get decommissioned, they wound up in our garage. Me and my brother would go in there and take them into our house and build whatever Franken machines we could, mostly in DOS and Windows, and just trying to just see what we could do with them. And so that was a lot of fun and kind of got into it that way. I learned I wanted to program. I kind of gotten some exposure to that in middle school, high school, and decided that software engineering was what I wanted to do. And so I decided to go to Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, and get my degree in software engineering up there. I also was interested in kind of the military and potentially serving, looking at it initially as a way to pay for college as well. So I also did ROTC, Air Force ROTC up there. And then I really enjoyed doing that and kind of getting involved in things. RIT was also a co-op school, so they have you work for a year. So I got the chance to intern at Microsoft and also work for my school for a little bit. And then I commissioned in 2016 into the United States Air Force. And so my year group was a little weird that year because they basically the training backlog got too long, and it was going to be over a year before I would even go on active duty, which Congress basically forces the Air Force to pay you when you if that happens. And so Congress basically said, instead of sending these second lieutenants to training, you're going to send them everywhere across the country. And I got the opportunity to go to the Defense Innovation Unit out in California at Moffett Field in Silicon Valley, which was kind of cool for a software engineer to be able to go out there in the Air Force. That was a really special experience. I was able to be a part of the software, what became known as the software factory movement within the Air Force. We started with a tool called the Tanker Planner tool, which basically helped aerial refueling be planned. So, like if a F-16 is going to go somewhere and then it needs to be refueled by KC-135, how are you going to actually plan that out? And the way they'd been doing that for the longest time was on a whiteboard with Excel, like literally like moving magnetic pucks around. And so we actually went out to Qatar, interviewed them, brought in modern software development practices, and built them a web application that we deployed to their production environment in about 6 months. And that was pretty special for the Department of Defense because the previous program that we were kind of competing against, called AOC 10.2, Air Operations Center 10.2 upgrade, they had started development in 2006, and by 2017 hadn't delivered anything to production. So they were on their traditional waterfall flow. And so that was kind of cool to be able to be a part of that. I was able to expand that out into lots of other sort of domains within the Air Force. Worked a bit on counter unmanned aerial systems. Worked a bit with actual doing like offensive cyber operations development, like malware development, effectively. And then decided to get out of the Air Force. Mostly because I wanted to stay a dev. I love software engineering and actually writing software, and slowly got pulled further and further away from it. And so in 2022, I joined Defense Unicorns on their ZARF project, and then I became tech lead of that in 2023. And then now I've switched over to our Defense Unicorns software factory capability that basically is providing a lot of the same tools that I was using all along while I was in the Air Force. So I've been a long, watcher of the open source space, and I've really obviously was a big user of it throughout all that time, and I really saw what it could kind of do in the Department of Defense and what things you could really practically do with it, and so I wanted to be a part of that coming out of that.